stayed home.
There you are. You changed. It's
I
like
lost
a
your
brain
visual,
bug.
Marta. I can't see you, Martita. I can hear you.
I don't know what's wrong.
I can hear you.
You can hear me, but you can't see me.
Yes, the visual.
Okay.
There's a little picture of a camera and there's a line across it. You could just press on it and it'll show your visual again.
This is the microphone. This is me, Tessie. Where's the start video? Where there's a line I see. It's off when you click it.
Ah, there you are.
Okay.
Thank you for helping.
I don't know how I moved it.
Yeah.
Hi.
We're
very happy about the book.
Congratulations.
Hi, Anna.
Wow.
Everybody. And when do we get to see it? When do we get to see it?
When we order, I guess, copies.
To order copies.
Right now, all you can do is get an ebook. As soon as it gets it formatted in like 72 hours, the paper book will be out. And I told him if he needed help to let me know, and I get my sister to help with the, excuse me, let me see. No, I don't know who it is, so I hope it's nobody from the group.
Yeah, they're thin paperbacks, but in the past we've had only either 4 or 5 or 6 people contributing. But this time there were more of us. How many in the end? 8, 7, 8?
Either 8 or 9. I have to go back and count. I think 8. But
yeah,
I may be counting NJ, which I should because I loved her foreword. I think
I haven't read. I want to read it, NJ. I'm so excited that you did that for us. Hopefully next year you'll put in a story as well. You're such a great poet.
Also, we have the anthology next year, and we're talking about having varied content, so poetry also would be up for grabs. I'd love to read some, and now that I know you wrote battle scenes, I'd like to see your fiction too, NJ.
Wow, that's awesome.
I don't want to teach everybody, but I have been bragging, Anna, because we have 2 5-star reviews. And one of them is just the rating. Amazon doesn't make people give an actual review anymore, but one is an actual review. And we will at some point give bad reviews, but at least we're starting off the right way.
That is,
loved it. So
that's in the right direction. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Leslie, how do we get a hold of this book? Like, where do we find it? Or
it's on the ebook, and I need to talk. I hope Nick can come. I need to talk to him, and I'll tell you all what I need to talk to him about in a minute. You can buy it at if you have a Kindle. Right now, it's only available as Kindle, as an ebook. Pages Out of Time. Did I get that right? Yes.
Yes, that's the title.
Pages Out of Time, and it comes up under Leslie P. Garcia. We're all listed as authors, but that's the way I've been finding it.
Okay.
And the cover. I'm so proud of the cover. Elsa did the tree. Miguel Hernandez, who has family from out of town and can't join us, did the text and the actual cover. And I think it's a beautiful cover, just gorgeous.
I think it was a joint effort because Raj threw the idea out that as the leaves were falling off the tree, they would turn into pages. And then Anna drew the first sketch. So Anna, also was part of that inspiration. Everybody put their little grain of, of what do you say? Grain of salt? No.
Grain of salt.
Grain of salt, grain of sand. I don't know what it is. Just we put all the grains together and out came something really good.
I was so sure it was grain of salt, and now I have to go look up and see if it's grain of sand.
It's because in Spanish it's granito de arena. That means a grain of sand. That's in Spanish. But when you translate things, they change sometimes.
They change, definitely.
And you know how I learned it in Spanish, Elsa? Because I knew that it was arena in Spanish, Diego Verdaguer. falling in love with a singer is the best way to learn a foreign language. Anyway, that aside, we were trying to figure out, Martha's working on her mystery, the one she talked to us about before.
Oh, yes.
And so I told her that she can send it. She doesn't have to wait till she finishes it. She was trying to figure out how to go on from where she is. I said, send it around, and as we have time, we will read it and make suggestions and see if that gets you unstuck.
Okay.
When we started
Hi,
out, Debbie,
Anna.
Hi, Debbie.
Anna.
How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
This is my first time with the group, so I'm excited.
Welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
me too.
Thank you.
Me too.
Thank you.
You all know each other then. I'd been going to ask, I know Debbie and Elsa do, but you also know her, Anna?
Yes, we all work together.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We're co-workers out at the ninth grade campus. We're all teachers.
That's great.
Yeah. We've known each other for years, and I love that Debbie and I started talking the other day, and her interest in writing are exactly what Stephanie does, your sister, Leslie.
Exactly. I was telling her Stephanie is having knee replacement on Tuesday. So,
Oh,
prayers are positive.
we'll offer prayers.
Yes.
Very much appreciated. But I'm sure Stephanie would be very happy to share anything she could, because she's a very generous person, and she's got a tremendous amount of faith. I have always said I wish I had her faith, because she's remarkable. She's gone through stuff, and she never doubts that things will be fine in the end.
How many books has she put out, Leslie?
This is so embarrassing. I don't know, because
Don't worry.
there's a new book out. Last I counted, it was 29, and a month has gone by, so it might be 30 now. Her latest one was Body from a Scottish Castle Mystery.
Castle. I remember something about a castle.
Scottish Castle. Yes.
So they're murder mysteries, but they have to do with Christian fiction. So
Yes, they're Christian fiction. She doesn't write anything vulgar or dirty, and she throws in people resolving situations in Christian ways. And they're good stories, and she has some characters that if you've lived in Texas, you might recognize. I'm not sure if you haven't, you would, but she's written 29 that I know for sure she's written. And by now she may have written another one. I just can't keep up with her.
Wow. She's productive, to say the least. Very productive.
She is.
Very
prolific,
productive.
right? Prolific. I'm sure she's being influenced by the people she meets where she's living now.
Yes. And
She's in Scotland?
she's in Scotland, and she has written some of her mysteries there. Also, she met a lot of strange characters in Bandera, because Bandera is a small hill country town, cowboy capital of the world. She had a crush on Willie Nelson for as long as I knew her. I honestly forgot. But it's amazing, because Willie Nelson actually is mentioned in her Borrowed Angel. And I was, what was I, 15, 16? No, I was 17 when I came to Texas. And I never thought I didn't like Willie Nelson. I'm sorry, I didn't back then. And he wasn't, the neat braided hair, and he'd get drunk at this place he sang, and women in short black dresses who shouldn't have been wearing dresses because it covered very little of them, would be handing him song lyrics, his song lyrics, written on a cup so he could sing the song. He was that wasted, and
Oh my God.
very poor. And yet here it is, a lifetime later, and he's still going strong, and he sings better now than he did then. So, it's kind. And I just thought of something. We are recording this, and I'm not sure I should talk about Willie Nelson. I could be sued. They can't take anything away from me. It doesn't matter. Anyway.
There are plenty of wonderful musicians with poor judgment, Leslie. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Many other artists would fit that category, the same description.
I did want to say something. I bought the book just because I wanted to have it on my Kindle, and I read the stories again, and they just hit differently this time. I had already read them before, but having them all together like that, and then reading them, and then being able to go back and skip back to a part and so forth, it just, I don't know, it made me very happy.
Good. I'm glad.
And then what NJ wrote at the beginning blew me away. It was
Wasn't that wonderful?
so
Pages
wonderful.
out of
It
time.
was so kind to everybody. You made me feel really, I don't know how I'm going to say this, but I was just so happy. I felt like, we're all doing something so good together. Hey, Enrique.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, how are
Hi.
you?
Hi,
Happy
Enrique.
Thanksgiving.
Hi, Ricky.
I forgot to put.
I think NJ's foreword is one of our best endorsements and advertisements for the book.
It was very nice.
Yes.
That is wonderful to hear. We need all of the advertisement possible.
Right, okay.
Let's see, I still don't have video for Enrique. Has
So-
anyone for me?
To order, we go
there you
into,
go.
There you go.
Hi.
We can see you. Hey, Enrique.
Hey, how are you?
there's something about Kindle.
Yes, Marta, you have to go into Amazon,
Uh-huh.
and then you just look up, you can either just go to books and look up the title, or just type in the title under search, and
Uh-huh.
it will take you to it.
Amazon. Okay, Christy's looking for it.
Oh,
She went into the computer,
Oh,
her
Awesome.
computer. So we can
Oh.
order.
So we'll find it under Amazon also, Leslie?
yes.
mhm.
Okay. Other years, what we've done since there's been the library book festival in December is that
Uh-huh.
we'll pre-order a group of books. I know they're not available right now, but we would order and try to have 20, 30 books there. And we'd all kind of pitch in, $8, $10, $15, whatever we could, and buy a group of books. And then we would be able to sell them there at the table. But we don't have the copy yet. I was going to say the hard copy, but no, I have the soft copy, right?
Paperback.
Paperback. And then there's not going to be a book festival. I finally got that email from Danielle, the librarian, telling us that it was going to be this year. It's not going to be held. They're going to wait till 2021 to hold the next
Right.
book festival from the Laredo Public Library.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yes. Right now.
Pages out of time.
Yes.
I still want to go to book festivals like in San Antonio and other cities. I've never been to another one other than the ones we've attended here in Laredo.
We
I'm sure
should plan a trip, those that can, to a book festival somewhere close, San Antonio, and then another year make it a tradition and try something a little bit farther,
I like it.
and
Yeah,
start
really
close, start San Antonio close, and then
I like it. I like the idea.
yes,
Oh,
that would be
really?
I'm
nice.
in.
Something nice, something different, and a little bit adventurous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're traveling beyond Laredo.
exactly.
Sounds good.
And we'll learn what works for other authors as well to
Yeah.
promote.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah, I have been, I wrote a letter to an author that I like, and I haven't sent it. I have it here with me, and I need to just put it in an envelope. It's like a fan letter.
Oh,
It's
Nice.
David McCollugh. He writes history, books based on
Historical?
history.
Okay.
Yes, I've heard of him.
He comes out on TV sometimes and
Did he
discusses
write
his,
John Adams, the book?
probably he's writing about historical
Figures.
I
figures.
wonder if I have it here somewhere. I just don't know where.
He wrote, the last one he wrote is called The Pioneers.
Oh, I want to say he wrote John Adams. I have it.
I'm sure a lot of research goes into this type of writing,
He
right?
has
When it's
a
historical.
lot of research, yes.
Yeah.
He prints it in the back of the book. It's all the research that he does. It's a lot. And I've been wanting to, go into the, he has a fan club. And I was gonna I did write the letter, but I haven't sent it. Since
Send it in.
August. I've had it since August.
Send it in. Send it in.
Yeah, I need to send it. And maybe that way we can get a little bit of a, introduction to, or just for him to maybe help us out in some way.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yes, I've read his work. David McCollugh.
Yeah.
I've read John Adams and I've read 1776.
Wow.
He has
Wow.
a book on the Wright brothers
I thought-
also, and the last one I got the book, but I haven't been able to read it. I just skimmed through it. Pioneer.
He has one called Truman, the Pioneers, the one that you were talking about, the Wright brothers, the Path Between the Seas, and the Johnstown Flood. That's the one that I started reading, and then
There's the kitchen.
my whatever I had, my ebook, it became obsolete. I had a first generation. What were those first ones called?
Like Fire or something? Amazon
Kindle
Fire?
Before Fire,
Oh wow. I don't
Or
know.
fire. Wow. Oh, no idea.
and it was through Barnes and Noble.
Those were called, what were they called? They weren't called, I don't remember.
It was so old that it wasn't backlit. It was like a book. I had to have a light to read it.
Oh,
And I loved it. And you know that ever since that became obsolete, my husband bought me a new one. I just never got into it. I went back to paper books.
I go like I have stages. Like sometimes I just get like a bunch of Kindle books and I read them like on my phone at work or whatever, and then I stop for like months because I don't like it for no reason. Then I go back to them.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was fine. I had so many books in there, and I know that if I charge it up, I mean, the books are still there. But I just, once it moved to a different device, because I had mine, and I went to Barnes and Noble, and I said, how come I can't download? And they're looking at it, and they're like, oh, it's because we don't make that model anymore. I felt offended, like, what? It says, what? That's one of our first ones. I go, it was one of the best. I just, so I have one somewhere. I don't even
I'm
know.
not, you didn't tell them, are you calling me old?
I know, like, no, but I know I have one and it's thrown around somewhere, and I feel bad because my husband bought it for me several years ago. It's probably obsolete by now too. So now if I download things, I just download them on my iPad through Kindle. So I have them there, but I don't get as interested in reading them as I do when I actually buy the paper books.
The books are just so
There's something about it.
enticing. Yeah.
I guess
It's
having
a-
like the pages they fill in the pages when you turn them or something.
Yeah.
So I
Like
do
the
go
weight.
I do go buy a lot of books at Second and Charles. I haven't been lately, but I'll just walk and whatever catches my eye, I look at it, I read, oh yeah, this one. And so I have a little stack waiting for me.
I try not to go there too much.
Why, Martha?
I end up buying more than I should.
That's most of us. Yeah.
I have like an entire shelf full of like books that I need to read, and I keep buying more and more. It's
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Oh, you only have one shelf of books you need to read.
Yeah, I need a room.
I've got like
for books.
multiple shelves and I still keep
It's
buying.
like half my wall length. That's like so.
I've just had to put a load of shelves put up in this room for me to store my books on. I've got a full length
I'm gonna
book
count them.
in
So
my
many there.
bedroom, and basically books in every room somewhere. And I probably haven't read about 80% of the books that I've got, and I still keep going and buying more books.
They're like little adventures that
Yeah,
are like little
yes.
promises, right? I think that's how I
Get
see.
away from your everyday life and you just escape into a book. My sister, she lives near Houston, and she built a floor to ceiling, like an entire wall of
I'll be right back.
bookshelves.
Wow.
It's got this ladder, like, you know, like those old fashioned ones, and you move it around and you climb up and you grab books. I'm like, oh, that's what I want. So my son is a senior in college, so he should be out in May. And I told him, if you move, your room is becoming a library. I said, yes. And he goes, what about when I come home, I go, I'll have a little futon or something. You just lay there. But I'm so excited because I can just picture all the walls, just bookshelves. And it's got these windows. One wall is all windows. So think of all the light that would just come in. And then the rest of it would be just bookshelves from the top to bottom. So I'm excited. I mean, I don't know when he's actually going to leave home, but hopefully someday soon. So he had left, but then he came back. I'm like, oh, I didn't have time to do stuff with your room.
We do need a big house to have a library. A big house to accommodate a room for a library.
For all the
Or at
books.
least a wall, like you say.
Because I have this entire wall full of books. It's also from top to bottom.
Mhm.
And I have a little bookshelf and have another bookshelf. Then we have 2 more bookshelves in the living room. And they're just, I would like to have them all in one room. The
Mhm.
way my sister does. She just put everything. It just, I don't know. I love going. I spend all my time in that room. And they're like, come over here. Like, I'm looking at your books. Beautiful. So I hope, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, it's going to happen for me too.
It probably will.
Oh, and I am working on my novel. So maybe in a couple of weeks, I might be able to show you all a little bit and see what y'all think. It's been a lot slower than I thought because it has that historical background. So I'll type
yeah.
something up and then I go back and, oh, that didn't happen. So I have to go keep track of what's going on. And even though it's fiction, and so I can kind of add my own things in there, I don't want it to be completely off. Like it's not a fantasy or alternate universe. I want to keep it kind of.
You do have to do research for even, even fiction set in a different time period. You do wind up doing research. I'm doing research on a period I lived through. And it turns out, I mean, I had to look up, and this, so far, the hardest thing to find was whether or not one of the characters could have had a G.I. Joe at a particular point in time. Because, I researched G.I. Joe and I got 500,000 offers to buy G.I. Joes, to sell me G.I. Joes. All I wanted to know is when were the doggone things invented? And I couldn't get a concrete answer. So I wound up liking a G.I. Joe page. And I felt, here I am. And I mean, people go all out with G.I. Joes. I know they did as kids, but these are grown people who have forts set up outside and rooms with all kinds of different scenarios with G.I. Joes. And it was fascinating. I collect horses, so, whatever people like to collect. And it came in very handy. And I found out that, yes, my character could have had a G.I. Joe in 1963. And I hadn't been sure that he could, but he could and did. So, you do have to research. And there's so many things like, I don't remember, and this book is fiction, so it doesn't go a lot into the politics of the time, but the Vietnam War was huge because it changed the way we think about so many things. And it was the tail end of the Vietnam War, and just so many things that I was alive, but I didn't pay attention, didn't know anything about it, like when did the Beatles break up? They broke up, and you wouldn't think so as huge as they were. They were only together a year or two before they broke up. And if you look at all the Beatles music and the Beatlemania, you would have thought they were together forever, but they weren't. And just so many things that I had to stop and and look up, because yes, I was alive and I was the kind of person who always liked news, but you don't remember all those things. So research can be a pain. It can also be fun though. So that time period especially. And I'd been going to ask, you gave me a perfect lead in to ask if anybody's working on anything they'd like to talk about.
Anna, my question for you is your story, your novel, based on the first short stories that you wrote and then you set them aside?
Yes, I wanted to find a way to maybe incorporate them into a bigger work.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start with their stories. I don't know. I mean, right now I haven't put them in there. I've kind of started afterwards, after they got married.
Okay.
And I don't know whether I should have the wedding maybe to open it up and then kind of move on from there. Because if you recall from my first two stories, it just ended up in the part where their fathers agree they're going to get married, and it ends there.
An arranged marriage.
Yes.
Isn't that called in media res or something like that, in the middle of
Media res.
things?
If I throw them into the middle of their married life and then maybe go back to the point where I left off in the stories,
No, but I mean in the middle of the marriage, like, and then backtrack how they met and
yeah,
why
exactly.
that came about.
So that I'm thinking maybe that's something that I could do, is like incorporate those other stories as
Oh, they're
chapters.
wonderful. Do please.
It's very interesting. I want to find out what happened.
Well,
you.
you know, and it's something to think about. You do need, because I'm assuming there's going to be conflict between the brothers.
Mhm.
And even though after we read the second story, I was like, okay with it, I still had wanted the other brother to win her. I wanted her to end up with, and I'm sorry, I always ask you, Guillaume? No.
Guillaume.
Guillaume, okay, because I always call him Guillaume, and I know that's not right. Okay, Guillaume. I just thought, you know, he was so dashing when we met him, and I just really liked him for her. And it's true that the older brother always, you know, in that time received everything. So that part of the story makes sense, and you can make that character sympathetic too. But you do need conflict in a story. What better conflict than two brothers hating each other because of the woman, even though it's not her fault. And I really think, I'm glad you're working on that.
I'm working on the outline, so I know what direction I want to go with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know it has to have conflict. I want there to be some sadness. It needs to be emotional, because if people read it and they're emotional about it, then they are invested in it, and they're going to want to know what happens after this.
We have to be able to relate to the characters, and I mean, we already are, those of us who read those short stories. And Jay, did you get to read any of Anna's first two stories that she let her? No,
I've only read the ones in the anthology.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, the one in the anthology is completely unrelated to the other first two I wrote, and this was actually from advice from Leslie. And I don't know, I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. I thought it was a good thing. Is that she told me that she thought those stories were good enough to maybe publish in the future, like an actual book. So, and then you told us about the first rights, and about, you know, that some publishers will not want a story that's already come out somewhere else. So I kind of set those two stories aside, and I came up with a brand new one. And I struggled with it because I thought, oh, this is not going to be as good as the other two, because the other two I really felt for those characters. Like I felt like I knew them. What
so did we.
Like, they felt like real people, like people I would have, if I lived in that time, I would have known them, I would have talked to them. But then I came up with this other one, which is more like a sci-fi type of thing, which I had never done before. And
But it worked.
I went with that one.
Very,
So I
very
kind of held those two back to see if I could do more with them. And that's what I'm trying to do right now.
Much out there for stories, and it's conflict is important. There are a lot of ways to find conflict,
Yes.
and there are a lot of ways to resolve it too. So I know we're all looking forward to reading Anna's novel. And I'm looking forward to reading our anthology next year. We will start on that soon. I really wish Nick could have been here today. He might still come. I haven't heard from him. What do you all think, though? Last year, we don't have the book festival this year. Last year, after the anthology came out, we stopped meetings until January. Now, as far as I'm concerned, we're doing it on computer. We can do it every 2 weeks if you all want, or we can stop until January. What do people think they'd like to do?
I think we should still meet in December. If you all want, instead of meeting twice, maybe we could just meet once in December and then, you know, give ourselves I guess, break from one meeting maybe just for the holidays to get through it and all that. I don't know. I mean, it's a suggestion. But I would still like to meet in December, even if at least once.
No, that's fine with me too. We don't have to go out and go anywhere if the weather gets bad. We can meet here, and that way NJ can also be with us. So that's fine. The 28th, so that would be what, like the 14th?
Like the middle of December?
I think I looked it up and it was the 16th, but I'm not sure.
The 12th?
12th,
Yeah,
yes.
I think the next one's the 12th. So,
Yes, thank you. Never trust me to do math. Ever.
and I think the 12th works. The one
We have
after
a
that.
calendar nearby. That's why
The
we're looking
12th, and then for us, that would be after Star, so it would be even better.
Okay. What,
Yes.
we have classes until what day, guys? The 18th? Do we have classes until the 18th?
I think
Yes,
so,
we have
yes.
classes.
Okay.
18th is our last day for Christmas break.
Okay. All righty. And then we return in the middle of January, right? Not the middle, I mean the middle of a week, not the middle of January. The first
like
week of
January.
January?
January
But
the 18th is our return day. January the 18th.
No.
That's a long break. Really?
Am I-
No,
Do I have
No,
it
no.
correct?
no, it can't be. No,
I
no,
thought it was
no.
the
Oh,
6th.
no.
No,
I'm
it's
incorrect.
the
I'm
6th.
incorrect. That's the beginning of the semester. 18th
Oh,
is the beginning
yes.
of the semester.
Yeah, we're still
yes.
going back for a week and a half to finish up the fall.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have professional development on January the 4th, actually. I'm looking
Yes.
at the calendar.
Yeah.
There you go.
I was talking about the beginning of the semester. I was like, oh no, that seems
I'm like,
forever.
oh, we don't have a break that long.
I wish.
Yeah. No, then we'll be super behind.
Yes,
That's
no.
true.
We are behind now. That's already.
Yeah.
So you're
Yes.
already having to worry about the tests.
Yes.
I thought it out this year.
That was in the spring, Leslie, but it's not, we're not exempt in the fall. I do know that TEA put out word a few days ago, last week, that each school district could decide if they needed to implement the 14-day, like stay at home so that the schools are closed. But I don't think our district is gonna do that before STAR is administered.
No,
I don't
It's
see
only
the
1 week.
UISD doing that.
no. We're already getting ready, preparing for testing. As
Sorry?
far as I'm,
Yeah, we have our assignments. The kids have their schedules.
yes.